In Hollywood, some best friends look a little too in love. They hold hands on red carpets, kiss on cheeks, fly across the world for each other, and still swear we're just friends. Tonight, we're diving into 10 LGBT duos whose chemistry is louder than any denial. Are they purely platonic, queer platonic soulmates, or secret romances the industry refuses to name? You decide. Watch to the end and tell me which non-couple feels the most like a real love story. 1. Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart, the old married couple of geekdom. On paper, it makes no sense. One is an openly gay theater knight, the other a straight Shakespeare bulldozer with a rock-solid marriage. And yet, somewhere between Magneto's helmet and Professor X's wheelchair, Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart slipped into a kind of love story the movies never wrote for them. They weren't even that close in their early Royal Shakespeare Company days. Just two serious actors in parallel orbits. The real bond happened years later on the X-Men sets in Canada. Two older Brits, stuck in trailers for hours, slowly dropping the armor and becoming inseparable. Then came the moments that broke the internet. Ian officiating Patrick's wedding to Sonny Ozell, joking on TV, "I'm going to marry Patrick." Tabloids instantly screaming that Gandalf was marrying Picard for real. The viral New York photo series in matching bowler hats, holding hands on the Coney Island Ferris wheel like teenage tourists. The red carpet kiss, full on the mouth, while Sonny smiled right next to them. If this is just friendship, why does it look more tender, more fearless than half the straight couples on those same carpets? If a gay man calls his straight best friend his soulmate and literally marries him to someone else, is that less of a love story? Or more? Of course, they've been clear. No secret romance, no closeted affair. Stewart has a wife. McKellen has his own history of love and heartbreak. What they're doing is something queerer and harder to label. Showing the world that two men can be physically affectionate, emotionally naked, and defiantly soft without apologizing for it. So what do you see when they kiss in tuxedos at 70 plus? A joke? A stunt? Or proof that queer platonic love can outlast most Hollywood marriages? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more hidden couples like this, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this list. 2. Kit Connor and Joe Locke, the ship that accidentally drew blood. On Heartstopper, Nick and Charlie are the soft fantasy so many queer kids were denied. First love without cruelty, kisses without shame. Off-screen, Kit Connor and Joe Locke built something just as intense, but very different. They grew up together in real time. Two teenagers suddenly famous worldwide, navigating red carpets, intimacy coordinators, and millions of strangers dissecting every glance. Interviews show them bickering like an old married couple, finishing each other's sentences, roasting each other's hair, height, sleep schedule. Fan edits slowed down every touch, every look, and turned it into a thesis. They must be dating. Here's the thing. Both are openly queer. Kit came out as bisexual in a single exhausted tweet. "I'm bi. Congrats for forcing an 18-year-old to out himself." After weeks of people accusing him of queerbaiting for playing a bi teen while not labeling himself fast enough for them, Joe later confirmed he's gay, speaking openly about growing up as a young gay man from the Isle of Man. So when rumors said Kit and Joe are secretly together, it sounded romantic. Until you realize the subtext. Fans demanding proof, dissecting private lives, turning a real friendship into a courtroom. Both have said more than once, they're good friends, not boyfriends. And yet, what do they do when the cameras are off? Fly across the ocean to watch each other on stage, like when Joe went to New York to see Kit play Romeo, Or when the cast chose to support Joe's Broadway run while the rest of the internet was busy with reality TV gossip. If they were secretly in love, would we even deserve to know? And if they're not, isn't it just as radical that two young queer men can be this close, this devoted, and still say, "We're just friends"? Drop your theory below. Are you team just besties or team they're totally endgame? And if Heartstopper's off-screen bond hits you in the feelings, make sure you're subscribed. We've still got some even messier non-couples coming. 3. Cole Sprouse and KJ Apa, Riverdale's accidental romance comedy. In Riverdale, Archie and Jughead are comic book icons, one the all-American himbo, the other the sarcastic outsider. Off-screen, KJ Apa and Cole Sprouse turned that into something wilder, a bromance so extra even straight fans started asking, okay, but are they... It didn't start that way. Early interviews say they didn't click immediately, but by season after season of late-night shoots and ridiculous plotlines, something shifted. Suddenly there were Thanksgiving photos of them glued together, goofy selfies, and whole YouTube compilations titled Cole Sprouse and KJ Apa Bromance is on Fire. They leaned into it. A video has them at a candlelit table, literally reading romantic tweets to each other over date night dinner, trying not to laugh. Promo shoots show KJ in pink, Cole wrapped around him from behind like the world's horniest koala. Online, KJ posts something ridiculous, and Cole slides into the comments to roast his love life like a jealous ex. At the same time, real-life Riverdale was messy. Actual co-star hookups, breakups, and KJ later talking about how common those entanglements were on set. It claims some castmates pushed back on. In that chaos, Cole and KJ's "we just flirt for the meme" dynamic almost felt safer. A romance you could watch, but never worry about breaking up. So what are we looking at here? Two straight, or at least straight presenting, guys weaponizing fan service. A queer-coded friendship that lets young male viewers see softness without panic? Or a very 2020s love story where labels don't matter as much as the fact that these two clearly adore each other? You tell me, is the Sprouse-Apa saga harmless bromance, low-key queerbaiting, or the most chaotic, not quite love story CW ever produced? Comment your take. Drop the number 3 if this is your favorite non-couple so far. And don't forget to subscribe so YouTube doesn't quietly bury the rest of these queer-coded friendships. 4. Jonathan Van Ness and Antoni Porowski, the non-couple that came out for a brand deal. On Queer Eye, they were never billed as the love story. Jonathan Van Ness was chaos in a silk scrunchie, Antoni Porowski was shy, polished, always one overthought salad away from a panic attack. But put them on a couch together, let them whisper and lean in close, and the internet did what it always does. It turned friendship into a romance plot. JVN and Antoni didn't exactly slam the brakes. They launched a joint Instagram, posted photo after photo posed like an indie couple, sitting on each other's laps, hands on thighs, soft eyes held a little too long. Fans gave them a ship name, Joventoni, and the line between joke and possibility started to blur. If this was just friendship, why did it look like every soft launch relationship on your feed? Then came the kiss. A car back seat, a quick press of lips, a caption that read like an anniversary. People cried, screamed, stitched the photo into TikToks about finally seeing two queer people fall in love without tragedy. For a moment, the fantasy felt real. And then the reveal dropped. The "we're finally together" post wasn't a coming out. It was a product launch. JVN and Antoni were introducing their pet food brand. The romance arc had been a marketing funnel. Some fans rolled their eyes and moved on. Others felt genuinely hurt, when queer viewers have spent decades begging for real couples on screen, is it funny or cruel to tease one that never existed? Did they queerbait their own community, or were they simply showing that queer friendship can look romantic and still belong only to them? So, what do you think when you see them now, cuddled up on a red carpet, calling each other babe, insisting they're just friends? Is it the sweetest queer platonic love story in reality TV? Or the messiest almost romance Netflix ever helped package? Tell me in the comments, and if you're still watching, hit subscribe. The next best friends only get messier from here. 5. Trixie Mattel and Katya, the chaotic lesbian wives who keep choosing each other. Trixie Mattel and Katya were never written as a duo. On Drag Race, they were competitors, orbiting each other with polite camp, not soulmates. Then, someone sat them in front of a green screen, turned on a camera, and said, "Talk." Out of that came, two drag queens in wigs and polyester, telling the kind of truths you only tell someone who's seen you fall apart. They hold hands, sit on each other's laps, joke that they're two biological women in a long-term relationship. Fans cut together supercuts of longing looks and petty bickering and call it proof. They're basically wives. Underneath the jokes is real history. Shared trauma, shared therapy, shared hotel rooms, shared bank accounts. And then it broke. Katya's addiction and mental health crashed, and she disappeared from drag and from the show to get sober. Trixie kept filming alone, under Katya's name, under the weight of a fandom inventing feuds and betrayals. When Katya came back, their reunion on camera felt less like co-hosts syncing schedules and more like two people quietly saying, "I'm sorry I left. I'm glad you stayed." Trixie half jokes that their friendship is held together by a constant, uninterrupted flow of money. Fans laugh because it's funny and wince because it's true. How do you separate love from career when your soulmate is also your business partner? Are they still here because they adore each other, or because the brand Trixie and Katya is too big to fail? When you watch them now, the way Trixie's eyes soften when Katya goes off the rails, the way Katya leans toward Trixie when a joke doesn't land. Do you see romance, codependence, or two queers surviving fame the only way they know how? Drop your read in the comments. Secret love story, platonic wives, or capitalism in a blonde wig? And if they're your chaotic comfort couple, make sure you're subscribed. We're not done with Almost Lovers just yet. 6. Cara Delevingne and Kendall Jenner. Cake, or the runway romance that never was. For a few strange years, the most talked about couple in fashion wasn't actually a couple. It was Cake, Cara Delevingne and Kendall Jenner. One was openly queer, loud, impulsive, kissing girlfriends in front rows. The other was the quiet Kardashian sister who never fit the family's boy-crazy script. Together, they moved through Fashion Week like a question the tabloids were dying to answer. They wore matching Cake shirts at festivals. They sat curled into each other at basketball games. Backstage photos showed Cara draped over Kendall's shoulders, whispering in her ear. Runway clips caught them holding hands just a second longer than necessary. There were even reports of Cake being trademarked as a brand, as if their chemistry could be bottled and sold along with t-shirts and hashtags. For queer fans, it felt obvious. Cara had dated women publicly. Kendall's dating life was a locked box people love to pry open. When a pansexual supermodel treats you like a human teddy bear in front of 1,000 cameras, how couldn't people assume there was more? Was Cake a real situationship hiding in plain sight? Or just two very photogenic best friends whose intimacy got sexualized for clicks? Kendall calls her close friendships sacred. Cara has since spoken about sobriety, healing, and how much her friends carried her through her darkest years. Maybe Cake was never a secret romance. Maybe it was a queer woman loving her friend loudly in a world that only knows how to read touch as sex. Or maybe there was a line crossed once, late at night, that they both decided to erase in the morning. We'll probably never know. What do you think when you look back at those Cake photos now? PR stunt, queer platonic love, or something more complicated neither of them is ever going to name out loud? Type Cake in the comments if you remember that era, and smash subscribe so you don't miss the last tangled friendships on this list. The closer we get to the end, the blurrier the line between best friend and soulmate becomes. 7. Brie Larson and Tessa Thompson. Val Carroll writes, and the love story Marvel won't film. Marvel refused to give the girls a canon love story, so Brie Larson and Tessa Thompson basically wrote one themselves. It started with fan art, Captain Marvel holding Valkyrie like a romance cover. Brie retweeted it with, "We cute." Tessa replied, "What? We so cute." And the internet did the rest. From there, it only got gayer. Red carpets where they posed like prom dates, Brie kissing Tessa on the cheek at the Endgame premiere, Tessa joking Val Carroll writes like it was a political demand. Here's what makes this ship different. It's not just fans pushing two women together. The actresses themselves keep feeding the fantasy. They share fan edits. They clown about it in interviews. They let queer audiences, you watching this on your phone or alone in your room, feel like someone inside the Marvel machine is on your side. Because let's be honest, if you grew up starving for WLW stories, seeing two A-list women openly hype a sapphic ship feels like oxygen. But there's a line, right? Tessa is openly attracted to women. Brie is a loud ally. When they flirt publicly, are they comforting queer fans? Or covering for a studio that still won't put a real lesbian couple at the center of a billion-dollar movie? Are they giving us crumbs? Or doing the best they can inside a system that's scared of our full appetite? And underneath all the jokes, the cheek kisses, the "my favorite Avenger is Brie Larson," the way they lean into each other like there's nobody else in the room, do you ever wonder if there was a moment, late at night, where the chemistry stopped being just content? Tell me in the comments, is Val Carroll pure ally joy, secret situationship, or clever rebellion from inside the Disney castle? And if you're one of the people Marvel keeps sidelining, hit subscribe. This channel is for you, not for them. 8. Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer. Charmy, the ship that turned cursed. Call Me By Your Name gave us a love story drenched in Italian sunlight. Elio and Oliver, bikes and peaches, and the ache of a first goodbye. Off-screen, Timothée Chalamet and Armie Hammer seem to carry some of that magic with them. Interviews where they sat too close, stories about riding bikes together through the countryside, spending months in each other's pockets. Armie called their chemistry random luck of the universe. Journalists talked about how deep their connection felt on and off camera. Fans named them Charmier and built a fantasy. Two actors who fell a little bit in love playing two men who fall in love. If you've ever clung to a movie because it was the first time you saw yourself, you know that yearning. It wasn't just about them. It was about us, needing the story to be true somewhere. And then the spell shattered. Allegations against Armie exploded, disturbing messages, power abuse, headlines that made it impossible to rewatch the film without a knot in your stomach. He vanished from Hollywood, dropped by agents and studios. Timothée stayed quiet, donated his salary from a later movie with the same director, and carefully stepped around questions about both men and the film. For many queer viewers, Sharmi went from comfort ship to haunted house. So what do we do with that? Is it fair to hang our dreams on real people we don't actually know? To insist two co-workers owe us a love story just because they played one beautifully? At the same time, aren't you allowed to grieve when something that meant a lot to you gets tangled up with someone else's darkness? If Sharmi was your first big ship, drop 8 in the comments. Tell me, did the scandal ruin it? Or can you still separate the art from the actors? And remember, you're allowed to outgrow a fantasy. You're also allowed to miss what it gave you. If you feel that conflict, you're exactly the kind of thoughtful fan this channel is here for. So subscribe and stay. 9. Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, wives in everything but name. Some couples on this list are chaos and rumor. Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin are something quieter and more dangerous to the status quo. Two older women proving that your greatest love story might be your best friend. They met making 9 to 5 in 1980, laughing so hard between takes they realized they'd found their person. Decades later, they reunited for Grace and Frankie, playing women who move in together after their husbands leave them for each other. Art didn't just imitate life, it ran to catch up. They do press like a married pair, finishing each other's thoughts, roasting each other's outfits, talking openly about how female friendship literally keeps them alive. In a TED Talk, they sat on a couch and basically declared a manifesto. Women friends make us smarter, braver, less alone. Jane said she exists because of her women friends. Lily said she knows Jane has her back always. Fans watched Grace and Frankie and quietly started calling them the real retired wives. And honestly, can you blame them? They spend more time together than most straight couples, show up to awards hand in hand, and know every scar in each other's history. Are they romantically involved? No. Lily has a wife. Jane has had husbands, lovers, and revolutions. But look at them and ask yourself, why do we still act like only romantic love counts? Why do we treat two 80-year-old women choosing each other again and again as something less than any wedding ring? If you're watching this and thinking of your best friend, the one who answered your 3 a.m. calls, who saw you through breakups and breakdowns, maybe that's your Grace, your Frankie. Maybe you're already living a great love story, even if nobody's writing it down. Drop 9. If Jane and Lily feel like goals to you. And if you believe friendship can be a kind of marriage, hit subscribe. This channel is going to keep saying that out loud. 10. RuPaul and Michelle Visage, soulmates who built an empire. 30-plus seasons of Drag Race across the world, and one constant, RuPaul at the head of the runway, Michelle Visage at his side, ready to clock a hemline and defend a queen's weirdness like a mom with acrylic nails. For casual viewers, it's easy to assume they're married. In a way, they kind of are. They met in the wild queer nightlife of 1980s New York, Ru a towering club kid, Michelle a Jersey girl voguing in ballroom houses, learning from legends. Years later, he stopped her in a green room and said, "Bitch, I've been watching you for years. You're a superstar." From then on, they were a package deal. Radio show co-hosts, talk show partners, then judges' table royalty. Michelle has said it bluntly. Soulmates aren't just lovers, there are friend soulmates too. And that's what Ru is to her. Ru has said they were supposed to be together. Of course, in the literal sense they're not together. Ru is married to Georges Lebar, Michelle to David Case. But when you build a global drag empire alongside someone, survive the AIDS crisis, the 90s backlash, the mainstreaming of a culture that used to get people killed. What word is big enough for that? Some fans side-eye the franchise. Is it too commercial? Too harsh? Too polished? Fair questions. But look at the core. A gay black man and a loud Italian Jewish ally from Ballroom. sitting on TV every week saying, "We see you. You're not too much. You're a star." If you grew up queer, weird, or just too loud, you know how healing that can be. So yeah, people joke they're an old married couple. Others argue about the show's flaws. Both can be true. That's what long relationships look like. Complicated, imperfect, still here. Tell me in the comments, when you see Ru and Michelle bickering and then cackling together, do you see corporate branding? Or do you see the kind of ride or die you secretly wish you had? If you're rooting for yourself the way they root for their queens, hit subscribe. You deserve a stage too. Even if, for now, it's just the glow of your screen and a moment to feel a little less alone. So, after seeing all 10, do you still believe they're just friends? Or is Hollywood gaslighting us a little? Maybe love doesn't always fit the boyfriend-girlfriend box. Sometimes it looks like your best friend, your co-star, your ride or die. Drop the number of your favorite duo in the comments and tell me your theory: platonic, queer-coded, or secretly dating. If you want more untold LGBT stories the studios won't promote, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive.